Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Patty Giarusso, and this is Let's Talk Pets on Society Bites Radio. Today, we welcome back to the show Gretchen Staab, and she is from Dawg Swim. And today, what we want to talk about is water safety and your dog, because the nice weather is approaching, and more people will find themselves out in the ocean, the lakes, maybe in their pools or on a boat with their dogs. And we want to talk about water safety and how important it is to keep your pet safe when you're in the water or near the water. Now, Gretchen is the owner of Dawg Swim, and she's worked with animals all her life. She's dedicated 30 plus years caring for a wide variety of domestic and exotic animals. She has a bachelor's degree in Equine Science from the Colorado State University, and she's a certified pet tech, pet CPR, and first aid instructor, teaching people how to take immediate, potentially life-saving action before and while transporting their pets to vets and during any other pet emergency. So welcome to the show, Gretchen.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so this is an important topic. Here our weather's starting to warm up and people are at the beach and on the boats, and pretty soon the rest of the country hopefully will be in the same boat, if you will. So it's important to talk about this. So why don't you tell us how to keep our pets safe?
Well, I think the first misconception is that all dogs instinctively know how to swim. And that's simply not true. And the second misconception, if we're talking about pools, is that dogs only drown because they can't find their way out. Which is fairly common. Some dogs will try to climb out around the edges, which leads to exhaustion and panic and drowning. Mm-hmm. So it's very important if you have a pool that you teach your dog how to safely and comfortably get in and out using the stairs, just by practicing getting in and out. So if they accidentally fall in, which happens, or if they get tired while swimming, they instinctively know where the stairs are and see them as a comfortable place to get in and out. Mm-hmm. And then, again, assuming that all dogs instinctively know how to swim is not true. Most dogs will dog paddle, meaning they use only their front legs while their hind legs sink. This is very common. The hind legs just seem to freeze, and they're splashing around with the front legs, which again leads to panic and exhaustion. And this is where a pet life jacket can be a great training tool. A pet life jacket gives them a little comfort and support while they learn to use their hind legs. And oftentimes, the life jacket's only needed for a few practice sessions, and they master using all four legs, and then you don't need the life jacket every time that they swim.
I didn't know that. That's a good idea, because I have, little dogs, and one of them just absolutely loves to swim. She dives in, she does a lap, and she comes back out, and she knows exactly where to get in and out. But I worry about the others that, one's a schnauzer, and my other schnauzer fell in, and thankfully we were right there. But like a rock, like right underwater, doing exactly what you said, the front beat, nothing with the back beat, and he would have drowned, he would have definitely drowned if we hadn't been here. So I like that idea. I'd never heard of doing that with a life jacket.
Well, you, of course, should always supervise your pets when they're around water. But let's face it, accidents happen. We turn around to answer the phone, or we look the other way, and they can fall in. So it is important, even if you're there to supervise, to ensure, if you're around a lake or a pool, that your pet knows how to swim. And you were talking about your different breeds. Another myth is that certain breeds can or can't swim. Mm-hmm. You would be amazed how many people call me shocked that their lab doesn't just jump in the water or swim. And I've seen so many articles that say corgis absolutely cannot swim. Mm-hmm. I have proof that that's not true, so I want to dispel that myth. My Corgi was not a natural swimmer. It took him a few more practice sessions with the life jackets. He got upset that my Pomeranians were out swimming him. But once he mastered it, he would be the first one to run into the ocean or the pool. Loved swimming. So don't believe that the breed of your dog determines their swimming ability.
Mm, yeah, it's probably fear more than anything, I would imagine. Yeah. But yeah, I have this one dog, and I guess she's, I don't know, Havanese mixed with something else, but she's got a longer body, and I was absolutely shocked. She's a rescue, and just one day we were out by the pool, and all of a sudden, splash, she just dove right in and took a lap, Like, I thought that was crazy because we've always had little dogs, and I've never had one that liked the water like that. But she just loves it, absolutely loves it. And I would like my others to be safe too, around the pool. So I think I'm going to try that thing with a life jacket and get them all trained up on how to, you know, swim just in case something did happen.
Now, with life jackets, it's important to practice. Some dogs, if you put a life jacket on them, it's almost like you've set their feet in cement. They just refuse to move. So it's important to practice them wearing a life jacket. Just take a short walk, not necessarily swimming, but being comfortable in a life jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And then life jackets for pets, for dogs, come in several different styles and sizes. So each company, the sizes are going to run a bit differently. It's kind of like buying clothes for people. The salesperson will say, this brand's large size runs smaller than the other brand's large size. Mm-hmm. So you can order life jackets on the internet, but because of the difference in styles and sizes, I find it's a little bit easier to go to your local pet store so you can try them on and make sure they fit properly for your pet. And not all pet stores carry life jackets. So you need to do a little bit of research and find out which ones do. But I highly recommend everybody has a life jacket, especially if you have a dog on a boat. I mean, we're required to have life jackets for every person on a boat, and every dog on a boat should have a life jacket available also in case you have a boat malfunction.
Yeah. No. I mean, we live out by Anna Maria Island here in Florida, and so we're on the intercoastal in a boat, and I see boats just whizzing by with the dogs up at the very front, just standing there, and then another boat comes by, and there's a big wake, and I'm just waiting for one of the dogs to go flying off the boat, and it doesn't have a life jacket on, and every time I see that, I just get really uptight about it because people don't understand that, especially with other boats going by, maybe the life jacket's going to be a brighter color and it would at least stand out besides saving the pet from drowning,
And there are, unfortunately, several stories of, dogs being lost at sea. The other great thing about the life jacket, not only will it help them swim, usually they come in bright colors, bright orange, bright yellow, so the Coast Guard or other boaters can find them. But they also have a handle on top so that if your pet falls in, you can just grab the handle on top and pull them out of the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's so important. I would say probably if I saw 20 boats with dogs on it, maybe 3 would have a life jacket on. That's really not, I don't know. It makes me nervous.
Me too, because of course I hear the stories of dogs actually, falling off and getting lost. Breaks my heart when a life jacket is a simple fix for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what else should people know about as far as water safety goes? We had a near drowning here of a dog that was pulled out of a canal, and it was an old senior dog, and he just couldn't get his footing, and he almost drowned. So can you talk to us about some first aid tools if somebody found a dog in distress in the water?
Well, in the case of drowning or near drowning, of course, you have to get the pet out of the water first. And in most emergency situations, we say, don't move the pet unless you absolutely have to, so you don't cause any more injuries. But the first thing you have to do, of course, is to get the pet out of the water. But then the second thing you should know is, in the case of near drowning, you should, first off, elevate the hind end slightly and gently rock the pet back and forth. Try and expel as much water from the lungs as you can before you perform any CPR or rescue breathing. And hopefully you've taken a class where you have learned how to calmly, competently, and effectively perform CPR and first aid after you try and expel as much water out of the lungs as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this old dog was very lucky, He was very lucky. Almost didn't make it, but he did. And, we had another case. This is something that you should maybe talk to us about, too. We had the case, and you probably remember it because it was on the news a lot. This nice black lab that was swimming, I think it was swimming in Venice, Florida here, and it drank too much salt water. So not only drowning is an issue, but being around the salt water is an issue too.
Well, this is actually called water intoxication, and it applies to all kinds of water, not only salt water, but ingesting too much water, whether it's pool water or lake water. And this would really apply to the ones that, have you seen them that lap at the water? So they're swimming and chomping at the water with their mouth. When dogs ingest too much water, it leads to water intoxication, which is a very serious condition that unfortunately most often results in death. So you always want to discourage your pet from lapping up or drinking water while they're swimming. Always have some fresh water available. So water intoxication often happens for dogs who like to play in the lakes or the rivers all day. They're in their water a lot, drinking it up, or when they go to catch a frisbee or a ball, they're ingesting the water while they're getting the toy. Mm-hmm. And so some of the signs of water intoxication are staggering or loss of coordination, vomiting, pale gums, dilated pupils, excessive drooling. They'll look abnormal, and it's very important to get them to the vet right away. It's a serious condition that needs veterinary treatment.
Yeah. And I think it probably happens more than people realize, because you see dogs do that all the time when they're in the water, chomping away and, drinking the water. And
It's actually, I think, not well known. We call it fairly rare because most people don't know about it. Mm-hmm. And it's sad that they don't know because they don't recognize the symptoms. And sadly, it's often fatal. It requires aggressive veterinary treatment because the body can't process all the water they're ingesting, especially for small dogs. Their little bodies can't handle a lot of intake of water. But again, when they are swimming, it's important for them to have water, even though we might feel refreshed and cool from being in the water. Swimming is a lot of exercise, so it's important to have some clean drinking water for your dog while they're swimming or after swimming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what other safety tips